Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Hogarth's Global Astrology. And today I'm going to be in conversation with Laura Chandler of Sacred Stream. But first of all, a confession. Guys, I messed up. I've just realized. So look, as you guys know, I'm very used to, with my Saturday show, I go up at midnight UK time, as you know, which is 7 p.m. Eastern, and it is 4 p.m. Pacific. But I agreed to meet with Laura at 5 p.m. Pacific, which is 1 a.m. my time, and I'm just so used to doing kind of like midnight, and I've just realized. So literally, I've sent her an email saying if she can join us sooner, then that would be great. If not, I'm just going to ad lib. Yeah, we're just going to ad lib. If you have any questions for me, anything like that, what we'll do is we'll pull some tarot. I'm actually doing this off my phone today because the camera, as you know, I have been going backwards and forwards with these webcams and they will just not focus properly. So if you just see here, now I'm doing it off my phone, you can actually see chart, the USA. This is the, I've written here constitutional chart. It is not the constitutional chart. It is the Declaration of Independence chart I've got behind me here. So let me just put a line through that. And I'm going to see, because I'm going to see if Laura's able to join me sooner rather than later. But of course, it depends when she checks the email. I mean, she could be having a bit of lunch or something like that. So you know what? It's you and me and you. What would you like to talk about? Do you guys have any questions and stuff like that? What's it? Purple sky. Let's see. Look at this. This is what Purple Sky is saying. I'm grateful to Nancy Pelosi. She's a force to be reckoned with. She helped keep Donald in his place. Love that fierce woman. Yeah, I understand she's not going to be running for House Speaker anymore, is she? That might be worth a little talk about. Definitely, if you guys have any questions for me as well, feel free to get stuck in and we'll just have a little kind of ad lib and stuff like that. I'll say a few hellos. And when Laura comes on, I just can't believe that I've just totally messed up on that one. It's literally just twigged on me just now. I was like, she's not here. And then I was like, oh no, I think she said 5 p.m. And of course, I advertised for midnight. So my bad. These things happen. Let's just say hello. Hello, Harry. Let's see who else is here. Evening. Yeah, everyone's saying evening. Let's see. Oh, just updated. Right. So if anyone's got any questions, let me know in the chat. Hello, Patricia. Anything you would like me to talk about, and I will just do reads right now. I've got my tarot cards. I mean, remember as well, I've got my Shakespeare. I've got my black and white deck. I've got my Rider-Waite. I'm going to get my cards out now. Hopefully, Laura will see my email sooner, and then she'll hop on the link. Let me just see as well if she, just in case she has got it sooner. No, she hasn't yet. And I've just, let's just see here. I've sent her an email. Right, let's see who's here. Hi, Hogarth and everyone. Nice to see you, Gertrude. All right, I'm doing this on my phone. I'm scrolling down the side, and let's see if you have any questions for me. The Dems take. Oh, so Harry's asking, the Dems take back the House early. Will the Dems? Let me put it up. Will the Dems take back the House early next year? Is that possible? How does that work? Because isn't it based on votes? Isn't that based on votes? If you guys could let me know. Well, you know what, Harry? Since we're ad-libbing here, I'm gonna ask the tarot. I don't know the answer to that because I would have thought early next year. How would that be possible? Because someone let me know in the comments, how would that be possible? Will let me just see if I can actually. I'll just make that as a star, and I'll see if I can come back to that. Let's see what will the Jan 6th committee transfer to the Senate? Okay, do you know what? Look, here we are. Events, please. Oh, will Putin fall from power? All right, you know what? This is getting juicy already. This is getting juicy already. So let's just let rip. Let's get stuck in. Even if this ends up being a 2-hour extravaganza, because it's my bad. Right, so Harry Bum, I'm going to ask you first. Yeah, I'm going to ask you first. Or actually, you know what I might do? I might do this for 45 minutes or something like that, and then I will send. I could then send another. I could create another event. I might do it like that. We'll be on for 45 minutes. I'll create another event, and we will reconvene for those that want a top up. How about that? Okay. So Harry Bum, will the Dems take back the House early next year? This is totally cold read for me. As you know, I don't know a great deal about the absolute ins and outs of everything. So I'm just going to ask the cards. Will the Dems take back the House next year? And I'm going to pull 5 cards and let's see. Move my camera down a little bit. So here we are. Let's see here. Will the Dems take back the House next year? I'm literally just going to answer the question because I don't have a clue of how that's possible without more elections. But I'm not an American. Pardon me, I'm not an American, so I've got no idea. But let's just see what the cards have to say. Total card cold read for Harry. All right, let's have a little look. See. Make sure that. Oh, wait a minute. I think I've got my deck upside down. Is it upside down? Let me just see. Yeah, I think my deck was upside down. Just turn everything right round the right way because they were all upside down, so it means my deck was upside down. Right. Will the Dems take back the House next year? This is quite interesting. The first card I get, look at that. I get, oh, guest. Maybe she's here. Laura is here. Add to stream. Hey, can you see me?
I see you. I hear you.
Oh my God. So first of all, Laura, apologies. I totally messed up. And I was sitting there and I was like, I don't see her in the chat. And then I was like, oh my God, I've done it wrong. So thank you. I guess you just got the email and you just joined, yeah?
I did.
Oh, perfect.
And I'm wondering, is it Mercury retrograde? It's not, but if there's something else and you'll explain what it is. Cause I'm having a similar, things are a little, it's post eclipse perhaps, or.
Do you know what? It's so funny that you should say that because these eclipses, what I've noticed, have been so powerful. They've been very much acting like a Mercury retrograde. This is what I've found. They've just been really strong. They've brought up so much stuff for my clients. So many. Oh, I mean, I've had a bit of drama myself, family drama. But it's just been bringing up a lot of stuff for people, and I've found electricals. So it's almost like it's been a Mercury retrograde, but it hasn't. If you know what I mean.
I do.
So there's that. So Laura, what I did was I ad-libbed a little bit.
Great.
And I was starting to take questions. So I took a question from Harry Bum, and that is, will the Dems take back the House early next year? So I've already pulled some cards of that. So I'm going to answer that question, but in a way that can be our segue into broader questions about what's going on and stuff like that. So is it actually possible how would the Dems take back the House next year without an election? Because I thought it had to be elections each time.
take back the House. I don't know that there are other elections next year. There could be, but one thing that I'm wondering is if we're going to see some folks leaving by, prison, by way of prison, or by way of, getting some charges against them. And depending on how large the lead is with the Republicans, which I think is going to be quite narrow, it's possible in that way. But I'm not aware of any elections. I don't know that there are, but there could be. There could be.
Okay. Well, what I'll do is I'm just going to read. I'm just going to answer the question. Basically, if it's possible or not, we'll have to see. But we're just going to go based on what the cards actually say. And there's something interesting, like you said, potentially, if there are prosecutions and people go to jail, then that could really change the balance of power. Now, isn't it interesting? Because the card that I got first was the Justice card, which of course means what? Legalities of all kinds. Isn't that interesting? So of course this can be about judgment, a fair judgment, etc., something like that. But what I have in the obstacle position here, now this is the Empress card, Major Arcana. But for me, this is always my card that deals with Russia. Yeah. So legalities, maybe something happening with Russia. And it could be that Harry was on the same line of thinking as you. Yeah. Because we've got legalities that have come up, Russia that's come up. So, could there be something in connection with that? Maybe around what? Money, Ace of Pentacles, funding. And then look, my second card that I associate with Russia is here as well, the Seven of Swords, trying to get away with something. So do you see here, there's a narrative that's building quite quickly. And then in regards to what? The Emperor. Now we all know who considers himself the Emperor. So based on what you said and Harry's question, if there were legalities and some of the, let's say some of the House members or whatever got prosecuted and some went to prison, because the taking of the House is so narrow, even 1 or 2 or 3 going down could make a huge difference. So that's what the cards are saying. Not fully aware of this, that, and the other. Let me get my headphones and then we're going to introduce you properly, because I want to be able to hear you more clearly. So, un momento. I'm going to put my headphones here.
Yes, and all the comments are confirming that idea that if there are indictments from the January 6th hearings or other issues that may arise, there could be a change in the House.
Now, isn't that interesting? Because the cards, as you could see with the cards, it was showing that scenario. So it could, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Now I'm going to put my headphones in. Let me know if my sound goes off. If it doesn't, I'll keep them in. Okay. If it does go, so
you can't hear you. And
I'll have to do this. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you sound good. You're freezing a little bit, just a little bit of freezing.
Oh, okay. That could be, it could be my internet. It could be my internet connection. I'll do this without headphones, but it's actually improved your sound doing that. So, okay, after my mishap. Oh, go on.
Do you hear me okay? Is my sound
Yeah, I hear you just fine. Actually, the sound got better, actually. So, so after my little mishap, allow me to introduce Laura. Now, this is our second collaboration.
Yes.
And Laura interviewed me, it was a few months ago now. Was it back in the summer?
It was. It was.
It was back in the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And so, Laura, if you could just give a brief introduction of yourself and Sacred Stream and what it's about, and some of the things that maybe some of your people as well may have questions and would like to talk about.
Sure. Chandler. I'm the executive director of the Foundation of the Sacred Stream. We're a school for consciousness studies in Berkeley, California. And we are also online, as COVID has made that the real, a real possibility. And we have our own training programs where we teach a variety of different things. We're very interested in ancient wisdom and where the intersection of wisdom, of different forms of wisdom, interact with the contemporary world, and how we treat that respectfully, and how we kind of bring these things that could be very helpful to us in our somewhat psychotic state at times into the modern realm. And we also have very big programs with guest teachers. We have a speaker series, and so we bring a lot of thought leaders and different spiritual teachers into the mix. We're a resource center. We have a community center where we do a lot of different, we provide space for a variety of diverse events. And I'm the host of the Sacred Stream radio podcast, which is where I had you on, and everyone loved that talk, and they were very excited about talking more about the midterms and having you back, which we'll talk more about. And also you shook some people up because you let people know that in Vedic astrology, sometimes your Western sun sign is not, or your Western signs rising aren't always the same. So a shout out to Justin, who says she's an Aries forever, but I said, maybe you just need to do a session with Hogarth and find out about your Pisces side.
Indeed, and thanks as well so much for joining us this evening. So what we'll do is we'll do like a general chat, and we can even mix in actually a bit of tarot as well if people want, because I mean we've already sort of like begun on that level. But what I wanted to ask you is, in light of the midterms and the kind of sort of shocks and surprises that have come out. So basically we've just come through this eclipse season. We're still technically in it, but we went into the second eclipse season, and we had a solar eclipse on the 25th of October 2022, and it happened in sidereal Libra. And then the eclipse is always 2 weeks apart, and then we had the lunar eclipse slap bang right on the midterms on November 8th. Wow, look at that for cosmic timing. Now, with these eclipses, they've been extra supercharged because the sun and the moon have to coincide with the nodes of the moon. But in the mix of this has been planet Uranus, planet of sudden shocks, surprises, earthquakes as well. But it can also be political earthquakes. When Uranus is involved, one can expect the unexpected. Very often what happens with Uranus, what you expect to happen or what the collective expects to happen, you get the opposite result. And I can't remember what video it was I said. I think I said it a few months ago. And I said, well, look, it could be the case. Could maybe the Dems do a little bit better than expected? Mm-hmm. Now, when Ganga and I, she's someone who I collaborate a lot with. When it comes to tarot is not the best with timing, and I often refer to tarot as esoteric journalism. It's very good for reading the energy of that time. So we did a little read. I think it was just a day or two before the midterms, and what we got for the Democrats, because everyone was asking, will they get the House and the Senate? But I got the Four of Swords and etc. And it was all about laying back and kind of keeping an even keel. That's essentially what it was. And that's sort of how it panned out. So they managed to hold on to the Senate. And of course, we've got the runoff. But the House has gone to the Republicans, but not nearly as well as they thought it would. So how do you feel as an American, and with what you do, where America is going? How do you feel about America now? And you just tell me.
Sure. Well, I think it's a reckoning, in many ways, and in the world, we're our closet, get honest with ourselves. I want to add something that you said, you know, when we spoke in August, you said, look, you know, this is this big eclipse on the election. It's going to go either way. It's going to go one way or the other. It's a kind of reckoning there as well. It could go really negative. It could go really positive. I think that the election was a rejection of this sort of extremist Trumpist policies, this you know, polarization. I think that remarkable because that doesn't happen, you know, in the second year of a first-term president, you know. And I think that the fact that the House is so close is pretty remarkable too. So I think it is a message, and you know, Merrick Garland, and you know, getting to the bottom of some of the shenanigans that have been going on here for the last few years. But
so just so you know, I think your internet or your sound was just breaking up a little bit. I don't know if it's me or what have you. Just so you know, you might just, can you just repeat that bit again? Sorry.
Sure. I think that, so I think that we're in a good place, and we're going to be seeing some change, hopefully, in the next few years. And I would be curious to ask you what that looks like, because as you've talked about, in a Pluto return transit, that is a pretty big deal.
Yes, yeah, it's for me, this is I think we are at such an interesting inflection point in human history, quite literally. The stakes couldn't be higher, and we've just, because look, we all know, I was saying, if the Republicans win, it's like, yeah, it would just be Handmaid's Tale on steroids. Yeah. Right. It really would have been. It really would have been. They're like scary stuff. Thankfully, there are still many Americans that believe in democracy, and it's, look, the orange fog hasn't quite lifted just yet. Yeah, I might start calling Donald Trump, as you know, I refer to him as Duck L'Orange. I might start calling him the Orange Albatross. Yeah, because he is now dangling like a rotting, do you know, like this orange, rotting, fetid thing that they're going to have to deal with. But this was anticipated. It was anticipated. Lindsey Graham actually said famously, didn't he? He said a few years ago, he said, if we go forward with Trump, you know, we're going to destroy ourselves, and we deserve everything that we get. So, you know, he was quite prophetic in that sense. But for me, like what you were saying, we're going through this Pluto return. So look, here is the USA's chart behind me. Now, it's not the constitutional chart. It's the Declaration of Independence chart, the famous one from 1776. Yeah, 4th of July, 1776. It works beautifully, but it's from the Vedic positions. Yeah. So here, so that basically gives America a Sagittarius rising. Sagittarius rising. Now, what's Sagittarius all about? Sagittarius is the sign of what? Freedom. Yeah? Freedom, truth, freedom. What's everyone talking about? Freedom. Yeah. It's a fire sign, passionate, bombastic. Sagittarius is all about the truth seeker, seeking the truth. Yeah, wanting to go out there. The pioneer, the explorer. It's ruled by Jupiter, so it's innately it's an optimistic sign. If we think of the indomitable American spirit, yeah. Sometimes you go off the rails. Let's just call this a bit of the wacky races at the moment, going off the rails. But there's still somehow this innate optimism within the American psyche. It's very interesting because Jupiter is also the co-ruler of Pisces. And Pisces is all about spirituality, expansion, but it's also about dreams. Dreams. What is the big thing? What is the biggest export that we all know about? Is the American dream, isn't it? Yeah, which has inspired so many. Doesn't necessarily mean that dream is true, yes, as we have found. But what's happening is that this Pluto return is very, very significant because it only happens around about 250 years. Pluto's orbit is 244 to 248 years in his cycle. So America is having this intense moment where it's almost like a death and a rebirth, turning lead into gold. It could have gone really dark and totally fascist, or it's going the way I think it's going, which is this transformation and this green revolution. So this is the beginning of quite a long transit. Your thoughts?
You've frozen. Oh, you know, Hogarth, you're freezing quite a bit. I don't know if there's anything with the internet that you can do. I think we got most of that, but it's a little, little freezing.
Did you freeze? Okay, so because when I see you're freezing as well, so I'm wondering if it's because I'm on my phone. Because I'm on my phone for the better picture quality. But just to paraphrase. Just to paraphrase. So can you hear me now?
I sure can.
Perfect. So so basically we're having this intense Pluto return, and it takes around about 244 to 248 years to happen.
Yep.
So this of course coincides with the age of America. So America is really probably one of the only countries in the world at the moment having a Pluto return. Yeah, actually it has to be that specific age. And it's this thing of where you can see a rise in fascism, rise in darkness, because Pluto is the Roman name for Hades. And Hades is the god of the underworld. So a lot of shadow can come out. Mm-hmm. But also as well, Pluto deals a lot with alchemy, energy, turning lead into gold. So the positive side of that could be a complete and total reinvention of the energetic fingerprint of America, essentially. And we know that Biden is putting forward this this new Green Deal thing, yeah, that he's doing with all of the, you know, the renewables and all of that kind of stuff like that. So if that happens, that is going to be extraordinary. And I've said, if Biden gets his deal through, America will become the wonder of the world. So do you feel more optimistic that that's possible now?
I do. And, you know, I'm a Sag, so I'm pretty optimistic generally.
Yep, just listening. Oh, it's frozen. But is it my side or is it?
We dropped for a second. Sorry, everyone. We're hanging in there. You know, it's the eclipse.
Hanging in.
Math. It's the
live TV.
Stick around. We're having fun. I think that it was very curious to me that Biden rose to become the nominee for the Democratic Party and to win. And it feels quite fated to me. Whether you don't like him, think this or that about him, he's a very nice, very deep man with a lot of experience. And I'm gonna trust that, you know, and the Green New Deal is on the table, and that will change the course of the world if we can do that. And we need to do that.
Yeah.
Left. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of the things that I'm most excited about, but it was also one of the things I was most worried about, that we would lose. Yeah. Because as you see, this GOP, I mean, they're so rabid. Yeah. But at least now they are essentially calling it out. Even themselves, they're calling it out, and they are just like, you know what? Like Mitch McConnell was just brutally honest, and he says we need to be less crazy.
Yeah.
We need to focus on quality of candidate, etc. And the reason why this Green Deal is so important is that irrespective of the rise of certain other countries in the world in terms of influence and stuff like that, if America goes green, everyone else will.
That's right.
Because it's just that basic setting of example, but also as well logic, competition. If America starts going green and becoming literally like really kind of like fuel independent. I mean, if you just think, for example, you think of California, yeah, the Sunshine State. Think of how many gigawatts of electricity can be produced there.
That's right.
You go to other places. I mean, because America's got every terrain on Earth. So, and then it will also as well, it will do what? It will start creating great jobs. And if they start putting those in certain places strategically, as they said already, that's going to draw a lot of that anger and that kind of spite and resentment in many ways out of those areas of America that have been underinvested in because, you know, they didn't, you know, like if you think of, what is it? What is the place that's famous for producing all the cars and they don't have any cars anymore?
Ooh.
Detroit?
Oh, Detroit. Oh, jobs.
Detroit.
Don't have any jobs. Yeah. Oh, terrible, terrible. Well, you know, we knew we needed to change to other forms of energy.
I'm listening.
Making a lot of money.
Yeah. You just broke up a little bit there. Could you just mention that again?
Yes, we've known for a long time that we needed to change to sustainable energy methods, and we've had the capability for a long time. But I think that and a few people are profiting, and we almost got out of it in the 90s, and then fracking was discovered. The first electric car came out in the 90s, and then the RAV4 Toyota disappeared. It disappeared. So, you know, now there's not really a choice. And thankfully, we have many options and things happening now, but we've got to speed it up. We have to speed it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know what?
So it's really to save the planet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, completely, completely. And you know what? I think let's pull some cards on that. Let's pull some cards on the Green Deal. Yeah. And let's see what the energy is around that and what the impact will be if that goes through. Let's just see here. Yeah. What would the impact be of Biden's Green Deal? What will the impact be on Biden's Green Deal? Hopefully we'll get something like the world card showing up, which shows it could potentially affect the world, but I don't want to anticipate the cards. Two more to pull. What will the effect be of Biden's Green Deal if it goes through? Let's just see here. Ooh. Oh, this is very interesting. Very interesting. Right. So the question was, what would be the effect of Biden's Green Deal? Yeah. And if we look here, we have got the Page of Swords. Now, the Page of Swords, now swords are all about intellect. Yeah. Thought, the mind. And swords, I mean, pages are about messages. Yeah. Pages are about messages, but the element is air. Yeah. The element is air. So in many ways, it's kind of like this would be, you could almost see it as a fresh new start. This is a youthful energy. And also as well, it also makes me think of wind power. Yeah, because it is literally an air sign. But you can see here, it's fresh, it is youthful. I think this is also as well the willpower, the intellect of the youth themselves, who obviously want best for the future. But look who's in the obstacle position. We got the King of Pentacles, yeah? And this is what? The old money, yeah? Quite literally, it's the old money. It's that kind of patriarchy, the captains of industry, as it were. Earth sign, yeah? Those that get their resources and minerals and stuff like that from the earth and their oil, yeah? They don't really want this to happen, as we've seen. However, the next three cards are very interesting. what we get is the victory card here. And this is the, what is this? This is the Six of Wands, yeah, which is the victory card. And, but a victory for who? Yeah, a victory for who? The next card that comes up is the Tower. Ooh, the Tower. Now, and then here, the outcome card is the Five of Swords, yeah, which could be an abuse of power, but it could mean a battle. But what does this mean? This is how I'm interpreting it. It is between the youth that want to go forward with their fresh ideas and the establishment. Whoever wins, it will be a Tower moment. Because if the youth or those that want the environment to be saved don't win, then we get the Tower. Yeah, of course. This is all the storms, all of the, you know, all of the fires and all the terrible stuff that we've been dealing with. Yeah. However, if the youth win, or those that are interested in saving the planet win, it will be a Tower moment for the establishment. Yeah. Because the old stuff will have to be swept away. This is what they fear. The shock of the new. Either way, I think it's going to be quite a battle. Yeah, it will be a fierce battle, because these people have been part of the establishment for so long. They are the ones that also is what they campaign, don't they? They donate lots of funds to both parties, by the way, particularly the GOP. But, you know, they've got their hands everywhere because they want to maintain the status quo.
That's right.
But with Biden's thing, if it goes through, yeah, remember, even though a Tower moment can seem like it's shocking, Towers can also mean excitement as well. The shock of the new, a dynamic breakthrough. Either way, if this goes through, and this I think is why as well the GOP are so annoyed that they don't have the leverage, because they wanted to squash. Their whole idea was just to crush it all, and they've not been able to. They don't have enough. If a few get picked off, then they, you know, because of legal stuff. So I think either way, there will be a battle and there will be Tower moments, but I am hopeful that it will be the youth and those that want the change that wins. What's your thoughts on that?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And I think you in describing the Tower, you know, that's right. It's a breakdown to breakthrough. And I just can't believe that we're going to take it all the way down and not come back up. And the youth is amazing right now. I mean, we have some brilliant ideas, and they're just not going to tolerate it anymore. So we're at a place where we're cleaning house, as a kind of in a world sense. And one of the things that I find with all of the different people I have, say, on my podcast, or the different thought leaders that come through the sacred stream, different spiritual teachers, different, different peoples from all walks of life are all saying the same thing. We are in an evolution of the species, of humanity. And it's a little bit freaky, it's uncomfortable because it's rapid. But, I think that is true. I feel it's being reflected in many different ways. So if we just hold on, try to keep our good humor and stay positive, be nice to everybody and do our part, we're going to get through this and we're going to get to the other side of it.
Yeah, I think so. I think so, because here we are, Earth Mama saying America's future as promised. Because the reason of, like, we all know that this is important, and we know that America, of course, is not the only country in the world. We know this. There's many countries that are striving, trying to get greener, many countries that are suffering the effects of climate change. But the reason why it's so important that America gets fully on this bandwagon, in many ways, Biden has laid the tracks, and the train is especially from next year, is just going to start leaving the station. And he's a wise, mature man. Yeah, as you say, deeply compassionate. No politician is perfect, but we know he intends the best. He's also a man who's very mature in his years, and he knows he only has so long left. As anyone would who is pondering their 80th birthday. No one's thinking like, oh, I'm going to win a 4th term. You know, it's like, my hands are on the steering wheel. I better, just drive as best as I can.
Yeah.
So the sense when I tune in with Biden's energy is that, and it's like thing he said before, it's about legacy. He's seen it as his duty to build the train, get the train on the tracks and out the station, because he knows once those wheels start turning and that momentum of that green economy comes with the jobs and this, that, and the other. Another thing as well, I'm so glad he spoke about Amtrak. I know he loves, I adore Amtrak. For me, it's it's a much maligned and poo-pooed thing in America. And I think it is wonderful, especially the dining car and all the people that you meet. But it's also very green.
Yeah.
America could completely transform its economy just by doing a whole refurb on Amtrak and setting some new lines as well. The potential, kind of like Biden said, is so huge. It's almost hard for people to imagine once America starts going down this route. Carbon capture, green. And I mean, if you think about it, what we're often talking about, Saudi influence, shall we say, again, for entertainment purposes only.
That's right.
But what is the best way to be like, nah, 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 nah? It would be to what? Have clean energy, not to be relying on gas prices anymore and all of this kind of stuff. Imagine completely clean generated energy for all of America.
That's right.
Astonishing. So what other things have you seen in the pipeline? Because obviously you're someone who has a pulse on these things. What do you see else potentially manifesting in terms of the green agenda for America?
Well, I think we're a little bit ahead of the curve here in California. I'm in San Francisco, so we do have a lot of solar, a lot of electric vehicles on the road, a lot of people really, really on board with just reducing their carbon footprint. And I think that ultimately it's a 100th monkey kind of thing. If you're familiar with that idea that like when a monkey learns a tool, after the 100th monkey learns that tool, it's in the DNA. It becomes part of the culture, and everybody else knows that tool and how to use it, right? And so if we acclimate to that, and it becomes part of our just way of being, our way of living, right? It's not so hard right now. I think people, in different places in the world, in the US, they're used to their, plastics and their, gas powered cars. But I don't think it will be that hard once we get enough people moving in that direction, and it becomes easier to understand how to reduce your carbon footprint and how to, we make electric vehicles more, we have more charging stations and it's faster and that kind of thing. And that's all in the pipeline, I think. I think that's coming.
Yeah.
But, I just wanted to say one thing, prior to, FDR, Roosevelt's New Deal, which did wonders for this country, we were quite, 100 years ago, we were in a not a similar state. We were very nationalistic, anti-immigrant. We were in this, angry sort of time period. It's not unlike it's a little different. It just looks a little different. It's the same, but it's the same thing. So I'm hoping that, and it might be interesting from your standpoint, from an astrological standpoint, feels like Say
again?
that
So
sort
say
of
again. I wonder if it's because I'm on my phone. I think there's
maybe.
some people are having a little bit of a WhatsApp chat going on, and I'm just like, oh my God.
Maybe. How are
So apologies if it
no,
taps out there. But
yeah.
just to paraphrase what you said, you were saying about 100 years ago, we're in a similar energy, anti-immigrant and stuff like that, and those
Yeah,
kind
yeah. Yeah, and I think probably from an astrological perspective, there may be something a little similar going on, and maybe we come out of it into the Green New Deal, the way they came out of it into the FDR's New Deal, which brought social programs and jobs and all of these. And what
Mhm.
I think
Yes,
so,
ma'am.
we're certainly, but
Hmm.
yeah, I wonder from the astrology point of view, from the astrological point of view, what do you see coming? What's next?
It's very interesting. First of all, what I would say as well is that the astrology of a nation really does play out in terms of the character. And one of the shadows, the shadow aspect of Sagittarius is cults and fanaticism.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cults and fanaticism. And my goodness, we know that America's got plenty of that.
That's right.
Look, there's lots of cult stuff around the world, but I mean, like America's got a lot. Yeah. And there can be sometimes the shadow aspect as well of Sagittarius can also mean falling from a great height. Yeah. Having these wobbles, and we saw there was, I mean, in some ways there has been this falling from a great height, hasn't there, in terms of, Duc Larange and his impact and how he's lowered the standards of political discourse in America. However, fire signs are passionate. They are also robust, and they tend to rejuvenate themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And it is about those passion and those ideas. So in terms of the energy, it's quite interesting because I've got my computer open here. And in 2023, we do have some interesting stuff coming up. So we've got a big stellium here. I was actually just looking. So around about so if we look here, round about on the 16th of May, there or thereabouts, we've got Jupiter, Rahu, Mercury, and Uranus all in the sign of Aries. Yeah, all in the sign of Aries. Up here, which is in the USA in terms of the Declaration of Independence chart, is the 5th house. Now, what's the 5th house? The 5th house deals with giving consultation and advice to others. Yeah. But it also deals with ideas, creativity, innovation of all kinds. Jupiter actually does very well in the sign of Aries. And Aries is all about pioneering, doing new things. Jupiter, Aries can also do with engineers as well, because it has that energy of Mars. So if we've got Jupiter, which is guru, Rahu, which is also innovation, the new and exotic things, Mercury deals with the mechanism of the mind, and Uranus is there as well, which is innovations, flashes, shocks and surprises. Yes.
Hey, it looks like I'm the only one here. So we'll wait for Hogarth to pop back on. I'm just looking through. First, I want to thank you all for being so kind and welcoming. And Wildlight Arts, I'm just seeing your comment. Listening to Indigenous people will have a greater effect in saving us, more so than carbon trading. Absolutely, absolutely. And the idea of the 7 generations into the future, like we have to think of what we're doing and how it affects 7 generations. I have someone earlier asked if I know Joanna Macy. I know of Joanna Macy. I don't personally know her. I admire her greatly. But someone who I do know, who is friends with Joanna Macy, works with Joanna Macy, is a wonderful woman named Lynn Twist, who you may know, who wrote The Soul of Money and formed the Pachamama Alliance. And she's going to be on the pod. But what she's doing with the Pachamama Alliance and the Amazon headwaters, she she is working with organizations in the Amazon to bring rights, not only to the people, the indigenous people, and helping them have their rights, but also to the land and to the water and to the animals. So it's really,
I'm back.
Hogarth is back. Hogarth, I've just been reading some comments and answering a few things.
Perfect. I knew you'd be fine, Laura. As you can see, I've changed camera angle, folks. I'm now on my laptop, which is probably what I should have done in the first place. But because the autofocus was a bit dodgy, but not to worry, here we are. So, sorry, Laura. So just bring me up to speed what you were talking about. You were talking about nature.
Wildlight Arts was mentioned that listening to the, yeah, we were talking just, I brought up someone who's going to be on the podcast, a woman named Lynn Twist. We were talking about the indigenous people. Wildlight Arts mentioned that they can do more for us than, and listening to them and learning from them.
Absolutely. Let's just see here. So let's see. So
she's at the floor. Yeah. She's at the forefront of that. Very interesting, very inspiring. And she has a new book out called Living a Purpose-Driven Life. So anyway, that's what we were talking about just a little bit as we waited for you to, oh, Mary loves Lynn Twist. That's great. Yeah, she's fabulous. Yeah. Very inspiring. Very
brilliant. Yeah. So yeah, I've just, Mary Huddleston is just saying that there. So perfect. Let's click that up. I'm wondering whose internet it is though, because I think you're chopping out more than me, but anyway, whatever.
Oh, well, I'm not, you know what? I'm not telling you when you're chopping out. But because a lot of times it catches up, you catch up and we get what you're saying. So we've been rolling a little bit.
Well, we'll just have to see how it goes. Also, as well,
it's stable. I should be pretty stable, plugged into the ether.
Yeah, and my internet should be pretty stable as well. But one thing I want to share is that I've been saying to a few people, I had a Reiki session recently, one of my first Reiki sessions, with a friend of mine called Annabelle, and it just, since then, electrics have been really playing up.
Yeah.
Because I had it was an incredible experience, but since then my electrics haven't been the same. So I'm just like, also as well, I'm also at that stage in my life as well where I'm having a Uranus opposition as well. And what happens for a lot of people, they get a lot of Kundalini energy starts rising in their aura as well. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff. So I'm just very electrical at the moment, folks. So, just just one of those things. And sometimes that's how it is. Say again. Sorry, could you say that again?
I said, and perhaps there's some solar flares happening.
Oh God, it could be anything. But one of the things what's interesting though with this kind of, so when we're looking around about May next year, like I said, where there's this stellium here let me just check again. Yeah, it is Jupiter, Rahu, Mercury, Uranus combination. That could be very dynamic. That could actually be the point where the rubber actually hits the road with some of these innovations and projects. Kind of makes sense, wouldn't it? Maybe around about May, that's where we might really start seeing like spades in the ground, things being dug up, innovations, because the fifth house is very creative. It's very creative. But it's also about taking chances, gambling in a way. And this combination of Jupiter, Rahu in the sign of war and conflict and stuff like that. And I'm kind of hoping, someone was asking about Putin earlier. I'm kind of hoping it will all be done by then. But you know what's been in my mind? Slight digression here. I was thinking that winter may be a possible off-ramp for Putin, if you know what I mean. where he can legitimately withdraw his troops. Does that make sense?
Say again, you stopped a little bit. You froze.
Sorry, no problem. I was just saying that I think that the winter could be an off-ramp for Putin because it will allow him to withdraw his troops. Yeah, makes sense. Let me just close down some pages here in case I've got some stuff that's open. Yeah, so your thoughts on that as well, and how maybe that could also affect the global dynamic as well. And we'll go back to talking about America.
Sure. Oh no, I think it's great to open up to the world because this war atrocity. I think you said in winter you're thinking you'll see a withdrawal.
I hope it gives him an off ramp where he'll have a legitimate excuse, not to, do you know what I mean? Not to do, to withdraw his troops, if you know what I mean. I'm going to close this computer down. I'm just wondering, because our connection, it could be my energy. I don't know, but it's just particularly choppy at the moment. What can we do?
We're fine. It's okay. Thank you all for rolling with it. I mean, in terms of him withdrawing, I hope so. I mean, we can't do another winter, and the Ukrainian people can't. The world has suffered so much. We really need to grow up. And Putin's chart. You've talked about his chart, and I don't know how he's still.
Yeah.
On any number of levels, but what do you see in terms of him?
Because I've looked at his chart a lot. And I've said to everyone, from November onwards, it's going to get more and more choppy, more and more dicey for him because he's going to have. Oh, let me just see if I've actually got his chart here. I was looking at it earlier. Un momento. Let me just see if I was just looking at his chart earlier. 1 second. Let me just see. I've got all these different charts here. I was just, did I do, 1 minute. Let me just see if I can find it. Oh, come on, Hoagie. I was literally, what did I do with it? I was just looking at his chart earlier and I was just like, I must just put that to one side. Just in case we talk about Putin. And then I did the thing of putting it to one side and now I can't find it. Oh, here we are. Is this it? Here we are.
And Hogarth, we have a comment here. The geomagnetic activity index is low, which means more.
Which is more what? So the geomagnetic something. Yeah, because look, it's like I can even see the internet thingy bob here is going up and down.
And again, sorry, we're freezing.
Yeah, sorry that we're freezing. It's just the energy.
I see you're doing that.
Here we are. But look, I've got Vladimir Putin's chart here. Now, the important thing is here. Let's see. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. So from the 24th of November, Putin goes into his Mercury dasher. His Mercury dasher, his Mercury time sequence, which is here. Let me just see here. I can get that. There it is. Mercury. 24th of the 11th, 2022. Laura's frozen. I don't know if it's me or so sorry, guys, about the internet connection, but sometimes that's just how these things go. And why is that important? Because Mercury rules the 9th house, but the 12th house of endings and beginnings and endings, can do with losses. Mercury rules the 12th house for all Libra ascendants. Sorry, you froze for a while there, but we'll wrap soon. So the reason why this is important, on the 24th of the 11th, Putin goes into his Mercury dasher. And Mercury rules the 9th house and the 12th house of endings for Libra ascendants. And in here, he's got planet Mercury itself, Neptune, Saturn, and the Sun. So the Sun represents leadership, yeah, our vitality, our sense of how we shine in the world. Saturn is the planet of karmas, restrictions, duties, responsibilities, can also deal with endings. Yeah. Neptune is known as the great dissolver. Yeah, it can bring a dissolving quality there, quite a spiritual quality as well. And he's also got Mercury here as well. So this is going to be a very, very strong 12th house activation for Vladimir Putin, beginning on the 24th of November, which isn't far from now. And it takes a little while to kick in further. So especially January, February, March, April, May, as 2023 progresses, he may potentially, because look, we know he's working with the negative energy, so it's unlikely that he's going to bring out the positive aspects of the 12th house. But we can just look, what's the 12th house all about? Beginnings and endings, but it deals with foreign lands. It also deals with hidden enemies. Hidden enemies, yeah? So it could be hidden enemies start to become more significant for Putin. Also as well, his relationship with the outside world and abroad. So that will be a big change as well. And one of the things I sense is, I mean, we know we have Xi Jinping, who's going to be around for a while, of course. But let's just anticipate, we don't know how it's going to happen, but let's anticipate Putin no longer being on the stage, on the global stage. That in of itself will be a huge leap forward for the world. So I think that could be significant as well. But just because you can believe it, look, the time has gone so quickly. Closing thoughts on how you feel about America's future, and I'll shuffle some cards while you're talking, and I'll do a pull.
Yeah, you know, I'm optimistic, maybe cautiously optimistic. I think, you know, I think things will move more quickly than they do. But if I settle down and let it unfold, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful for the future. I wanted to also say, Hogarth, we've had quite a lot of questions coming in about Nancy Pelosi and Nancy Pelosi. You know, do you see her, you know, is her retirement in her chart? I don't know if you've read her chart, but perhaps that's a future show or to tackle on Saturday.
Yeah.
A lot of interest there.
Oh, this is interesting. Oh, look. Oh, look at this. Right. Okay. Very interesting. What I would say with Nancy Pelosi, just as a response on a riff, because she's announced, of course, that she's no longer going to put herself forward to be House Speaker, which is understandable given what has just happened, which has been so horrific, hasn't it, to poor Pelosi. But I'm sure, even though she's not going to put herself forward for House Speaker going forward, she will still be a very powerful influence in American politics as long as she's drawing breath. We know she's an extremely strong character, and I think she's shown great nobility given what has happened to her husband, which has just been terrible. But she will be a force for politics going forward. I've not done her chart, actually. Maybe I should actually do her chart. Yeah. But look what I've got here for America. Very interesting cards. So I've pulled 5 cards. And out of the 5 cards, 4 of them are major arcana. 4.
Wow.
When lots of major arcana cards turn up, it means big change, not little change, big change. So this really is huge. If we look here, the first card I get for America in terms of its future and all that kind of stuff, look, we get the moon, yeah? Everything has been coming out of the dark, hasn't it? It's all been underbelly. Look at this. We've got the wild wolf here. We've got the lobster coming out of the dark. This is like the GOP wanting to bring all of their Handmaid's Tale rubbish. Yeah, we've got the 2 towers having to traverse and so much stuff, hasn't it? It's been what? A little bit cray-cray, hasn't it? It's just been a little bit cray-cray, yeah? The moon.
Yeah.
Now, if we look here, what's been interesting is we've got strength, and the strength has come in the obstacle position. But really, what does this mean? In many ways, there has not been enough strength to in the past to tackle all of this madness. Yeah. Really, think of all the people in the GOP, or, you know, Lindsey Graham, Mitch McConnell, all of the election deniers have all gone along. They've not shown strength, haven't they? It's been weakness. Yeah. However, when we look at the last three cards, it is fascinating. Because look, the electorate has shown their power. We've got the Magician card. Mm-hmm. This can also as well speak to, in many ways, the optimism. The sense of, when I tune in with this for me says America grabbing its own destiny. Do you know why I say that? Because the next card is the Star card. Yeah, which can represent America on its own. But we know the Star card is what? Rejuvenation, blessings from heaven. So this combination of Magician and the Star card is pretty incredible. Now, the outcome card is the 10 of Wands, but not fear. Fear not. Because really, it would make sense. If we are going to be getting rid or purging the shadow, because there's been weakness of leadership in the past, we can imagine this card upside down, bestial motives, yeah, which have been the block. However, once this kind of new deal, this Green Deal gets underway, America's going to start taking its power in its own hands. It's going to rejuvenate, and it's going to mean a tremendous amount of work. But I'm not seeing this card as a negative card. It means America gets stuck in.
Great.
America really gets going, because of course it's not going to be easy to transform. It never is. It's going to take a lot of work. But to have these two cards like this, and I say again, when America goes down this deal, and if it does it, it will become the wonder of the world. And that would be very much indicative of these two cards. So we can leave it there. How about that?
Fantastic. Two quick things. One, Lila Integral Soul, so much hope, which I wasn't feeling before I tuned into this Hogarth and Laura conversation. So I'm really glad to hear that. And the other thing is, Hogarth, I want to have you back on the podcast to do it.
Absolutely. I'll be happy to be back. The camera just froze again.
What do you think?
Absolutely. I think you were talking about maybe having me back. It chopped out a little bit. If so, I would love to be back on the podcast. Absolutely. Let's see. When it come back. Is it me that's freezing? Is it Laura that's freezing? We'll have to see. What I would say is, yeah, some people are saying lots of buffering. Sorry about that, guys. What I would say is this. So if you want to learn more about Laura Chandler and Sacred Stream, I've put her details in the video description below. Just so you know, I put your details in the video description below. Yes, it has been a bit choppy. Sometimes it's just like that. And Laura, I think you were saying with the Sacred Stream, I would love to be back on that. So of course, just drop me an email and all that kind of stuff as usual. And yeah, we'll make time and then I can return. So yes, there we are. It was a bit choppy, guys, but I think the overall of it was very positive, wasn't it? So if this passes through, which I think it will, because the GOP aren't quite strong enough to sabotage everything, they still will try. And, you know, they can talk about Hunter Biden and all that, whatever. But if this comes through, then this really could be a big rejuvenation, not just for America, but for the whole world. So let's leave it there. The camera's frozen. Hopefully you'll be able to say goodbye.
What's happening? All right.
It's the energy. So we will collab again, and of course, everyone tune in this Saturday. We're gonna have Johnie from Johnny's from Tarot's Apprentice, and next Wednesday we're gonna have Kevin as well back on for another thing. And Laura, we will do this again. Hopefully, the internet will be better. But it was a
We'll
nice
figure it out.
conversation, and I hope you guys enjoyed it too. Sorry for the choppiness. Hopefully it's going to be a bit better on your side when you see it. Thanks everyone for joining us as well, and until the next time. All right, bye for now.
Bye.
Let's see if the broadcast will end on time.